Filters are all around us. Instagram made filters really popular as a way to be able to enhance the photos that you post on their site. Organizations and companies, they use filters, especially in the hiring process, to determine who is a good fit, or more importantly, who is not a good fit, and to weed people out during that process. And then you and I, we use filters all the time. We filter the words we're going to say. We filter the stories that we should share or maybe not share, depending on the audience that we're giving the story to. The important thing is that we know our filters and the criteria we're using to evaluate or make decisions. So I was reminded of filters last year, and let me tell you the story. So I had a director of an industry association reach out to me via LinkedIn, didn't know this person at all. He had seen that I had spoken at some other industry conferences and asked me if I wanted to meet over Zoom to talk about their conference that was coming up. So we met over Zoom, had a really good conversation. I got to share my experience, some of the different conferences I had spoken at. And at the end of our meeting, he asked me if I would submit a proposal, right, for a topic in a session for their upcoming conference. So I took some time, worked on that, sent it off to him. And then a few weeks later, I get an email back from him. In his email, he tells me that they are not accepting my proposal, and their reasoning is because I didn't have a book. I wasn't an author. Now, a couple things here. First off, he was very gracious in the email. He wasn't rude at all. He was very gracious in terms of rejecting my proposal. Secondly, my hope is you hear my heart. I'm not bitter at all from this circumstance, if you will, from being quote unquote rejected. I've been speaking long enough at conference to know that this is a part of the game. But the reason why I bring this up is the criteria that they used to say, Shawn, we don't want you to speak at our conference. In fact, when I saw that email, I kind of laughed a little bit because their filter, it was being an author. Now look, I know some phenomenal authors who are also really good at speaking, but guess what? I know a lot of exceptional authors who are really poor public speakers, and of course, vice versa. So in my opinion, their filter, the criteria that they used, it was ineffective. They wanted speakers, but they were using the filter of authors. The filters we choose are important. So for example, if you're a manager and you're hiring, right? In my opinion, the filter of you need to have a college degree or a master's degree, probably not the best filter. I don't know of any college degree or master's degree that helps me determine work ethic, leadership ability at all. You got to change the criteria that you're using. And then for us as leaders, we have to determine what filter we're using, especially when it comes to success. I know many people who their filter would be success is money, building $1 billion organization, if you will, or it's fame, right? Going viral on social media or having all these followers or likes when it comes to their post. But I know other leaders who are doing the hard work, and the criteria that they use for success, it's quality over quantity. It's focusing on the value and the impact they bring to the people in the world that's around them. The filters that we choose are very important. Now, I'll tell you this. I don't know if it's true, the phrase, you are what you eat, but I do know that we become the filters that we choose. If we don't like who we're becoming, if we don't like the results that we're getting, then we might need to refocus the filters and criteria that we're using, especially when it comes to success. So here's our game plan. Okay, here's what I encourage you to focus on. Okay, I want you to think about the filters and criteria that you use. And here's some categories maybe think about. First off, what's that criteria that you use to determine success, right? What does it mean for you to be a successful leader, if you will? What's the criteria that you use for determining the people who are in your inner circle, those friends who you let speak into you and hold you accountable? What's that filter that you use? And what's the criteria that you use for the people that you admire, right? Those leaders that you want to emulate your leadership style. Think through the filters. And then is that the quote unquote right filter, right? You might need to refocus or change that filter a little bit. Let me leave you with our tweetable lesson. It's by Roy Disney, Walt Disney's brother. And here's what he says. He says, it's not hard to make decisions when you know what your values are.